Hello everyone, this is Coplin Talk at Weaves of the Wheel with
Helena and Ren.
And me, Helena Sedai. Today we are going to take a look at the Dagger Clip from the show that everyone was buzzing about last week. And if anyone has managed to miss it, here is a description from Wheel of Time on Prime and what are we looking at.
Yeah, so this description came out about a week ago after they released the footage, and it sets the scene quite well. So I'm going to read them. The video starts with an ominous sound over a black screen. Then a script page that's mostly blurred appears. The visible lines reads, and inside he sees something protected from the ravages of time, a ruby-encrusted dagger. The script dissolves to show a dark hallway inside a massive stone structure. A dim light shines through a window showing rubble laying on the floor. We then see a man's hand opening a gold box. From the box, he removes the dagger as a voice says, "All right, let's make a deal." The video then ends with a shot of something mysterious that quickly fades to black. And that's it. And that's the description that wotonprime put out on Twitter explaining the scene. So, Helena, shall we watch the clip now?
Yes, let's see what the dagger looks like.
Alright, let's make a deal.
So that was pretty awesome, wasn't it? Yeah, Matt's father actually confirmed that on Twitter that this is actual footage from the actual series. So we haven't had that before.
Well, if it's coming from Abel, that it must be really reliable, since we know anything coming from Abel is very good.
So this was like the first real footage. I mean, we've had other videos like the Wine Spring Inn, that audio from Perrin and Egwene, Ransor, Tom's guitar. But I think this is the first one that we've actually had from the actual series. So I was really excited. What's your take on it? What did you think when you saw it, Helena?
Yes, this is the one. This is the one we've been waiting for, because we all wanted to see how the show really looks like. And through images and these short bits, this was art, this was audio, but finally we have a clip from the actual show. And it is something that we've been waiting for so long, because it's not just any clip. It's not the village green, which is nice, which we would like, but it is the thing that is so awesome and so scary. And it's, I mean, Shada Logoth is just the thing to see for the first time. What I really like is it sets the mood really well. The dark, the scary, it's the second big bad thing we see. We first see the Fade and the Trollocs, and that's like the shock attack. And then we are finally into the world, and we are getting to know all the bad things of that world. And this is the first big bad thing after the Trollocs and after the Murderol. So it's really exciting to see the fog, how they represent it exactly like in the books. We tend to forget that it's not just any grey fog. It's this silvery tentacles, moonlight-like fog. And it's really beautiful to see that through the window, because people just think, okay, it's the moonlight. No, I don't think it's just the moonlight. It is how Mashada starts to manifest, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think so too. It has tentacles, but it reaches out to get you.
Constantly compared to the moonlight and to something sparkly, and that's nice to see that they've noticed that and used that. And the scene is quite different. The scene is quite different from the books. No one's freaking out.
Yeah, and who's Barney talking to, right? Because there's not anybody there by the looks of it. There's no Perrin, there's no Rand. So who's Barney speaking with? Is it to himself? Is it Mordef?
That's the question. That's really the question. Many say it's not the same scene, and that he's not speaking at that moment, that he's speaking somewhere earlier or later on.
Oh, so you're saying that the audio clip isn't for that part?
I say plenty of people believe that, because the tone is as if someone is continuing a conversation. The tone is not, see this beautiful dagger, and is that the moment to say, all right, let's make a deal? It's not really from that silence.
Yeah, I could imagine.
That's not the first sentence that comes up.
No, definitely not. There's some fear, there's some excitement, there's something going on, right? So his accent, though, it sounds like it's from South London. And, it's very Cockney English. Like, you're only meant to blow the bloody doors off. And then, if you extrapolate that back into when he let those ghost dogs into Mrs. Luhan's house, and it's like, you can imagine him saying, she only left the bloody doors open.
Yes, it's definitely him. It really, really, depicts the character, right?
Cockney geezer.
So the boys are not there. It seems like he's alone.
Yeah, that's what I got the impression as well. Like, you couldn't see anybody else there. I wonder if that's like they've made that slightly different from the show.
I think it's a lot different because you know how they were freaking out and he was grabbing the dagger and going away with it, and this is more deliberate. This is definitely a decision. He chooses to take that.
Yeah, he chooses to open the box and he chooses to take the dagger, right?
Right.
Shall we talk about the dagger then? For myself, I didn't think the ruby was big enough and it wasn't in the pummel. All the images I see in my head has the ruby in the pummel and it's curved. But this one seems like it's a straight dagger in a sheath with no sort of large riches, and the ruby is big, but it's not massive.
It's curved a bit. I think it's curved a bit. Just at the end, just the tip. I mean, it's enough. I never really cared for any of those things, really, if I think about it. Because if it's curved a lot, then it's hard to hide and it's complicated to carry around. It just doesn't make sense for it to be very curved. And then the dagger in the pommel, it really never was that important to me because you do see it better this way, but it is small. I was hoping for a big ruby, like one that he has really trouble resisting to sell. You know, when Ren says, we should sell this, we should sell this and live off this for months and get horses. And you don't really feel this ruby is hard to part with. I mean, it has to be.
Yeah, it's like that ruby, you look at it and you're like, meh, I could keep it, I could sell it. So there's a quote in The Eye of the World, which sort of has the first description of the dagger. And I'm just going to read that. Looking down at Matt in surprise and what Matt held hidden from everyone else by his body, a curved dagger with a gold scabbard worked in strange symbols. Fine gold wire wrapped the hilt, which was capped by a ruby as big as Rand's thumbnail, and the quillions were gold-scaled serpents barring their fangs. That's the first description of the dagger, and it's described as being in a sheath.
Yes, I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, now it has a sheath and it didn't before. And it seems it did. It seems it always had a sheath, which we were just not paying attention to that.
Yeah, and Matt sliding it in and out. So, it's that compulsive habit. So the box itself that Matt takes the dagger out of, it's got lots of descriptions and drawings on there. What do you think those drawings are?
Now that you've mentioned the quillions, I'm thinking maybe they've transferred those snakes on the box because people were saying they can see Tree of Life and tentacles of Mashadar. And when I took another look, I saw snakes' heads on the top of the box.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Right. I just thought it was just some random images.
No, at first, yes, but since I've watched it 800 times, obviously, now I see like two snake heads, almost like two snakes kissing on the top of the box.
Right.
So I think
like the Aes Sedai symbol, the serpents doing the infinity sign.
No, I was thinking more like snakes and foxes.
Oh, okay, the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that would actually make sense, right? Because snakes and foxes is an important part of Matt's story arc.
Yes.
So yeah, that would make sense.
I think so. And then on the side, there are tentacles, and some say it's the Tree of Life, which would also make sense. But also the tentacles of the fog.
Ah, true. So are you thinking that this box might be a history of what's to come for Matt? Like this is pretty much, there's some important bits on there.
It could be symbolic, or it could be just something for us to obsess about, and it's nothing. Maybe just a nice design. But I'm thinking because people making it are just as obsessed as we are, or worse.
I think it might be as well. Everybody loves throwing Easter eggs, right? So I think this might be a little Easter egg for us fans that we probably wouldn't realise until, somebody scrutinised it and told us about it. I wanted to run a theory by you, Helena. So there's a theory that Mordif's soul is in the blade. What do you think? Do you think that's true? Because, when he picks the blade up and then Matt says, let's make a deal. In the audio, you can hear a cackling like a laughter in the background.
I
Do you think that Mordif's soul is potentially in the blade?
Well, there's two things here. First, no, I don't. I absolutely don't think his soul is in the blade because
Okay.
it was very random when he picked it up in the books. And it was just one of hundreds of things laying around. It was tons of artifacts and gold and objects, and he could have taken anything. And yes, we can say his luck could have pushed him to grab the right thing, but to grab exactly the thing that has someone's soul, no. And also, I don't think the dagger is in that way related to Mordat because he is a consequence of that evil. He is the victim also. So the dagger is just another thing corrupted by it, just like Mordat is.
Okay. And do you think Mordif's going to get much screen time?
I don't. I really don't. I was even thinking he might be merged with Pardon Fane at once. I was even thinking they wouldn't, because why wouldn't you cast someone like that? And you have seen like that, and we have no idea who he is. We have no actor. And I was thinking maybe Fane does that part because they merge quite early on. And why not just do it faster and earlier and have that? Have him already be in Pardon's body and done by the actor.
Yeah, and you know the show does look like it's going to run fast because it looks like got a chapter from The Great Hunt in the first season as well. So it might be, you might be right. They might be just like, let's get it going. So that could possibly work. One last thing with this is Mordef Steve.
I don't think he is. It's not because he merges with Fane so fast. This theory kind of pushes me away from Steve. So I'm leaning towards Steve being one of the Forsaken.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Steve being not one of the Forsaken, but just a random person.
Oh, that's
that we're going to see once and never see again.
That's quite possible. That's quite possible. Someone from Two Rivers that we don't care about, and we've managed to care about.
Exactly. It's probably some Coplin. So we should actually be really happy, right? As if it's a Coplin, because the whole show is based on Coplin.
I would love it if Steve was a Coplin.
Yeah, we're going with Steve's a Coplin, right?
I think
Steve's
one of us. Steve's a Coplin.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. So one last thing. Clip ends, right, with this dark, mysterious shape in the background. Now, this has been up for huge debates, right? Like what it is, what you can see. And my favourite ones being that it's a Trolloc ultrasound.
Yeah.
That one made me laugh a lot. What are your thoughts? What do you think it is?
I've said it's an ultrasound right away. So it's not a giant leap from that to go to Trolloc. So the first thing I saw when we've posted it the day after I was watching it, I thought, okay, this is an ultrasound. It's just not the dragon. It's not an Aes Sedai ring. It's not the opening sequence. So I'm quite fond of this new theory that's emerging. Add Trollocs to it, and it's fabulous.
Maybe it's Nag's ultrasound. How Nag was born.
Maybe Steve is Agenor, and then
Steve's Agenor,
and this is the ultrasound,
right, who was a Coplin.
And this is the ultrasound of his creation.
And Steve was a Coplin back in the Age of Legends.
Before
That's what we're saying.
Oh, before he became Agenor.
Yeah, before he became Agenor, Steve was a Coplin.
Oh, listen. So it's Agenor who poses as a Coplin.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's how we blended into the Two Rivers. I'm a Coplin. Nobody's going to take me seriously. So just getting back to the image, what do you think this is, Helena? Do you think it's a seal to the Dark One's prison? Is it an image of a sword? Is it the Aes Sedai symbol? Is it the wheel itself? What do you think it is?
It can be any of those things. I mean, I liked all the theories, the dragons, the snakes, the rings, the opening sequence, the wheel itself, the Trolloc ultrasound, all of it. Yeah. First thing I saw was the moon through the window, but that's obviously not that's not it, because there's nothing mysterious about that.
It's so blurry, right? And there's so little detail on it that it could be anything really.
It could be.
What's your favorite thing?
I liked the theory that it is the opening sequence, because it does look like a transition from one thing to another. Like his scene is the intro, the opening sequence comes on.
Okay, well, there you have it. Helena Sedai's not sure. My favourite theory is Trolloc ultrasound, and Steve is potentially Agenor.
Coplin.
playing as a Coplin.
Yes, Coplin. And his soul is definitely not in the dagger, and that's some Coplin bullshit.
That is some Coplin bullshit.
So Ren, how about we go backwards and examine the other objects and teasers that we've had so far? Shall we go and start examining Tom's guitar next?
Yeah, let's do that, definitely. So next episode of Coplin Talk will be dissecting Tom's guitar and why it's a guitar and not a harp.
Thank God it's not.
All right, thanks everybody. Catch you on the next episode of Coplin Talks.
Okay, that's great.
Do you want to just say bye as well?
No, like, I'm the angry Coplin. I don't care to say bye. I can't be bothered.